That's on, okay? And I'll obviously shrink down the, I'll shrink the picture. Would be a good idea. Okay. We all good now, yeah? Okay. A ball is projected with speed u at angle alpha to horizontal ground at a distance d from the wall. The ball strikes the wall and rebounds and returns to the point of projection. So you bounce the ball against the wall and then the ball returns to exactly your hand. So imagine throwing it and it just returns to your hand. Okay. The coefficient is E. E is E. Okay. And prove that the time taken to reach the wall is d over u cos alpha. Okay. Well, here's what I'm thinking. Let's do the angle of projection. What way do we project it again? Angle alpha. This is u. This is u. So what does that make the adjacent side? And the opposite side. We all good there? Okay. What's my phi x? U cos alpha. Now, taking the x direction only, would you all agree that time equals distance divided by? Provided your speed is constant, provided you're not accelerating. Am I accelerating in the x direction? There's no acceleration, is there? Because there's no gravity in that direction. So I can do time is distance over speed. Time is d divided by u cos alpha. Distance over speed. Is that all they wanted from part one? Done. Part one is done. That wasn't bad. Okay, part two. Show how it hits the wall. Now, do you know what this basically means? Imagine I hit a wall, all right? And all right, just before I hit the wall, okay? And imagine for argument's sake that I'm going 4 up and 3 across. Ever see 4 up and 3 across? So my phi x is 3 and my phi y is 4. That would look like this. That'd be a 3 and that'd be a joint 4. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to find phi x and phi y at the time of impact. And we know how long it takes to see all the cos A's. Ever see all the cos A's there? We're obviously using a time of, what's that time we had earlier? D over, that's the time we're using. Because that's how long it takes to hit the wall. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my equations. Okay, I have phi x is done. I have my time of flight before I hit the wall is t equals d over u cos a. Okay, we're happy with that. Anybody know my next step? I'm going to have to find out what phi y is, haven't I? So what's phi y? U sine alpha, yeah. Any g's in the answer? So don't use 9.8 is what I've learned there. So minus g t. Now we're going to sub phi y. What are we going to sub phi y out for? U sine alpha. And what are we going to sub t for? G d u cos a. I'm going to want a common denominator for this. So what am I going to do to the sine a here? U cos a underneath. And then a u cos a on top as well. Is that right? So is it u squared sine alpha cos alpha minus gd all over? No. All right. So what I'm thinking here, I think I have the answer already then, don't I? Phi x is u cos alpha, yeah? U cos alpha. Click. And then phi y. I see cos f. Coaching. Done. Let's put the I and the J behind them. We're done. Looks really tough, but actually wasn't. Okay. Now, this part. This is the first part that has no context. What do we mean by context? There's nothing to tell me what to do, isn't there now? Now, I'm going to highlight some things that I see here. I see that there's an E in the answer, which means I must involve information from after the rebound. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm going to involve information from after the rebound. Is that all right? Next piece of information is there's a G and a D still there. Right, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's after the rebound. I'm thinking it comes in at what? What does it come in at again? It comes in at U cos A, yeah? U cos A is the one that hits the wall. And what happens when it hits the wall with U cos A? What does it rebound back with? E U cos A. In the opposite direction? Minus. Minus EU cos A. Going to the left. What happens to the J value? The J value is unaffected. So, here's what we're looking at from our equations. Your Vx is now minus EU cos A. Your Vy is too complicated. Do you see any signs of your Vy in the answer? It's much smaller though, isn't it? I'm hoping we won't need it. Okay. Now, what's the next piece of information we know? We know it rebounds how far? It goes D in the opposite direction. Technically minus D. Can anybody tell me why? Yeah. So you can do it two ways. You can reset the question. You want to just do a factory reset on the question? Reset for part 2 and say, I'm taking that as positive D, which now means that EU cos alpha going left is now positive. You can use minus D if you want. If you use minus D, you have to use minus EU cos A. You get what I'm saying? If you want to use plus D, then you have to say it's plus EU cos A on the way back. Is that all right? Now, okay. We can find the time of flight quite easy, can't we? Because what's the time of flight? It's distance over speed again, isn't it? What distance are we covering all the way back? Well, it's now plus D because I decided to use as positive, not negative. Now, and then it's EU cos alpha. If you had kept it as a minus, here's what you would have ended up with. The same thing, right? So I now have the time of flight. Is everybody happy with the time of flight? Okay, so this is time of flight. I'm not going to use Vx or Vy. Can anybody tell me why? I've already used it, and I think the only other piece of information I haven't used yet is what? Sy equals? Why does Sy equal 0? Why does Sy equal 0 right here? Because you've landed back on the ground. I'm going to need the Sy equation, unfortunately. The Sy equation, okay? And then I'm going to have to plug in the time of flight as well. This is going to be grim. Okay, so this is not going to be fun. Okay, who knows how to do the Sy equation? Anybody know? It's U plus AT squared. So what's our starting off velocity for the question? We're starting off with this here, aren't we? Because our Y value has a starting off velocity. You're not starting off at rest, you're starting off moving. So it's going to be U squared sine alpha cos alpha minus GD all over U cos alpha. That's your U value. Minus a half gt squared, yeah? So minus a half g. And what's t squared? Do you see it there? D squared and what's it? E squared and u squared and cos squared a. Oh dear. Oh, I should times the u value by t. Thank you. Well done, Gleb. Sorry, lads, I forgot to times that by d as well. Yeah. So what's the time? D over, and the algebra looks ludicrous, doesn't it? And what does that equal again? Was it equaling 0? Yeah, we're on the ground, aren't we? Now let's have a look at this. Okay. Let's think logically about this. Okay. I'm going to cancel all. No, I can't cancel all the d's. No, that's not possible. Oh, I can cancel this d with one of these. Can anybody explain why? That d is getting multiplied by everything, yeah? And this d on the right is also getting multiplied by everything there. So I can cancel one of the d's, okay? I'll be with you in a second, all right? I probably will do, all right? So that's going to be u squared sine alpha cos alpha minus gd all over e u squared cos squared alpha. And then on the bottom here is going to be a half g d. I'm going to put it as one fraction. So 1 gd on top, yeah? So 1 gd on top. And then what else? 1 gd on top and 2 e squared u squared cos squared alpha. What should I do to both sides? Multiply that by 2. Multiply that by 2. And multiply that by 2. Now, there's a mention of a sine 2 alpha in my answer, wasn't there? Anybody know how I'm going to make that appear out thin air? What am I going to highlight? See the yellow part? That's my sine 2a. Okay. So it's u squared sine 2a minus 2gd. Why don't the denominators matter anymore? Because when do you notice the answer is 0? It's never the denominator that causes stuff to be 0. It's always the numerators. So it's the numerators that I'm worried about. So for example, like 6 over 7 take away 2 over 7 take away 4 over 7 equals 0. Yeah? It's not the 7s I care about. It's the 6, the 4, and the other. It's the 6, the 2, and the 4 that causes it to be 0. So I don't have to care about the bottom at the moment. Okay? Now we've really got it narrowed down now, don't we? What's that, GD as well? And what does it want from me? Where'd my ego? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Made a bad mistake. Bad mistake here. That was never an e squared, was it? So multiply top and bottom by e. Noob, noob, noob. We all good with that now? Okay. Lucky it was a proof question. Okay, I'm going to move everything. I'm going to move that to the left. So it's going to be 2g dE minus gd equals what? Plus gd u squared e sine 2a. Now what? What do you think? What does it want on its own again? It wants u squared sine 2 alpha on its own. So I have to divide both sides by e. Once I divide both sides by e, what do we get? So I have u squared sine 2 alpha on this side and on the other side. What do you think? Cancel. It's 2gd plus gd over e. Going to factorize out gd. gd 2 plus 1 over e equals u squared sine 2a. Is that what I'm looking for? Oh, okay. We know the location of the error, don't we? It should not be a 2 GD. Let's see if we can figure that out now. Is it this one here? That one there, yeah? 2 GD. Oh,